our success with you. Do you feel like I do? From around the world, people are listening. They're sending in their stories and comments. They're making guest suggestions. They're telling their friends about the show. Do you feel like I do? Listen every Saturday night, 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, and feel like I do, right here on this station.
Political and religious news, supernatural happenings, unexplained mysteries, conspiracy theories, and special guests along with your calls right here on the Edge radio broadcast with your host, Daniel Ott.
Fundamental rights of the individual, regardless of nationality, religion, political persuasion, sexual persuasion, age or opinion, far outweighs the dilemmas any single government assumes they might face. History has proven that a government's main dilemma comes from the fact that its citizens have a right to question its decisions and policies. Once a government begins to question this right within its citizens, a fault line of social injustice opens as a hairline crack in society. If society ignores these warning signs, the crack slowly forms an abyss. Regardless of persuasions, individuals who possess the insight to understand when something is wrong have an ethical and spiritual duty to speak out for those who cannot speak for themselves. Social injustice knows no religious boundaries, for it is meted out by people who see spiritual freedom as a threat to their agendas. And one does not have to be a Christian, Muslim, Buddhist, the list goes on, or an atheist to experience the pain of political and spiritual bullies. As human beings, we have a common ground. Therefore, citizens can be a Christian, Muslim, Buddhist, atheist, the list goes on, for most citizens still possess loving qualities, an eagerness to help in dire circumstances, and a basic inner core of humane reasoning. Once we begin to draw lines in the sand that separate spiritual feelings and experiences, we say to the world that our way is the only way and your way is wrong. Thus we become elitist and arrogant. We become the puppets for governments who use sectarian belief systems as a tool for control. In reality, I think most people will help when they see suffering, and most do have feelings of compassion towards those less fortunate. The rhetoric and disagreements of belief systems at the epicenter of disaster are not forgotten but set aside for the sake of alleviating suffering, and so they should be. The only essential belief at this point is the belief in one's own ability to do the right thing for a suffering citizen who may not believe what you believe. My name is Andy Radford, your host for Edge Thursday Reports, coming to you from the Edge's UK studio, here at www.theedgeam.com. If you've missed any part of this show, don't worry, the full archive audio and video will be posted to the Edge's Thursday page on Friday, and the show will replay in the Edge TV player. If you're having trouble finding the Edge TV archives, that's the live show, and spiritually speaking, or the Thursday show, just turn the TV player on and click the on-demand icon. When you click this, a menu will appear and you'll be able to browse the directories for any show you want. Coming up now, Edge correspondent Gina Romano speaks to House Representative Jim Guest. Jim Guest of Missouri and his staff continue to work diligently to find solutions to organized stalking and electronic weaponry harassment. In this interview with correspondent Gina Romano, he talks about a victim in Chicago who is 85 years old, who has been implanted and has the scars to prove it. Although she is 85 years old, her perpetrators show no mercy. Representative Jim Guest discusses the possibility of government testing and government infiltration from Operation Paperclip and other spy organizations. Also discussed is microwave weaponry and how it is used for the purpose of mind control. Although this weaponry was developed to attack an enemy on the battlefield, it is now being used against private citizens in their own homes. Organized stalking is growing and the list of victims is endless, not only in the US but worldwide. What is the solution? Representative Guest suggests that an investigation on the federal level needs to be conducted and tells the listener and viewer how they can help get a federal investigation started. Here is the interview now. Edge Correspondent Gina Romano and Jim Guest.
Hi, this is Gina Romano, Edge Correspondent. Today I'm here with House Representative Jim Guest from Missouri, and we're going to discuss organized stalking. Representative Guest, thank you for coming on the show.
Well, Gina, it's always a pleasure to be on your show and talk about something that's very unpleasant, but I think more and more people around the country are realizing that it's a threat to the way of life for certain people, and those people who are victims need the support that you and others are able to give to them, and as we try and educate the public on this threat that's out there.
Well, everyone definitely loves to hear what you have to say, and it's so important to so many people to get support from you, and we thank you very much. A House Representative coming forward on our behalf is amazing. So everyone just thanks you, and we just can't wait to hear everything new that you have to tell us, what's going on. So if you want to begin, maybe by telling us about the situation. Since I talked to you last, what do you think is happening with the organized stalking, and what have you noticed, and what's going on with your show and the callers that you're receiving?
Okay, I probably got involved in this, I think, a couple of years ago, and I got a few people who called me looking for help, and, honestly, this sounded a little bit far out, that we would actually have individuals or government that would be using non-lethal weapons to harass and do this on our people. So I was, I got involved in it at that time, and that went on from there. And yesterday on my program, I had Barb Geyer from Tunisco, just outside of Chicago, who is a victim of this harassment, and she's an elderly lady who back in the 60s was in a hospital of some kind. I say some kind, I'm not sure what it is. It's been tore down since then. And tell her story, and sort of, gut-wrenching when you hear about what's happened to her. I think she's like 85 years old, and she's been a victim of this for many years. So I just, I've got many issues that I'm working on now. I'm trying to find as much time and assistance to these people who call looking for help, and they will need help from the state and the federal government to, we need a federal investigation on this. We've been working with Ted Kennedy's one and some other individuals, but the problem that you face and many others out there, when people first hear about it, they certainly have doubts about how something like this could be going on. And like I said, beginning of this, I had doubts too. Somebody saying, they're having nightmares, they're hearing sound waves, being harassed at the workplace, at their home. You kind of you question it. But then as more people called me, and I had those who had medical records from doctors who started sending me pictures through the email of the burns and where they had been disfigured, you realize that this was actually going on. And I realize that there is some support groups out there, which is very important for these people to have somebody to talk to, that they're not out there alone, and that they can get help from other areas. But then it's going to something that will not be able to get corrected very quickly or overnight, and I think we're making some progress. I certainly commend you for your program and all the work that you're doing to help these individuals.
Well, thank you very much. I don't intend to stop. I know what they're going through. I'm bombarded with phone calls just like you. And it's not just the United States. It really is globally. And just for humanity's sake, to see people being annihilated and harassed, innocent people,